Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts. And so this is Ticker Request Live. I'll be taking requests for maybe about an hour. I've got work tomorrow morning, and I want to make sure I get up for pre-market prep. So yeah, I'll take requests as they come in. I imagine some people might be watching The Last of Us tonight, which season two, I guess, just came out. For me personally, I don't have an HBO account, so I'm going to be waiting a few weeks to get one for a month, and then I'll just, watch the 7 episodes. But yeah, anyways, let's see. I wasn't going to pull this up, but I might as well. Let's see, just pulling up the channel. Just a video that I put out yesterday that I'm really excited about. This is the GameStop requel. He's back, referring to Roaring Kitty. He may or may not be. I have no idea. Maybe it's a little bit of a tinfoil hat theory video. But it's an hour long. I dive into the chart and some options data. And yeah, I mean, I am just excited about that one. I think it's a really good video. So I'd encourage checking it out. And I might do kind of more routine GameStop follow-ups just because I think I might be more aggressive with that one in the coming months because it just seems like, it pretty obvious. A lot of factors lining up. So I'm excited about that. And also, I did get a nice comment from Chess Dad on Rocket Lab. So thanks for that. I will respond to that comment. But yeah, I'll just come back to the charts over here. I do see that Saul's in the chat. What's up? Happy Sunday Fun Day. Of course, yes. And happy Sunday Fun Day to you. RGTI and BBAI. I'll definitely look at those. Let's see. RGTI and BBAI. And so I guess, since I did have Bitcoin up here to start, I'll just note why I have it up here. And that's just because we did form a CME gap, or we are forming a CME gap that is to the downside, but with spreads, the values that the prices that exchanges list, it's not really that much of a CME gap. Here it looks like it was 83,825 and just trading 600 above that or so. So it's not really that big of a CME gap. So I probably won't be partaking in that, but I will be covering Bitcoin in the morning with pre-market prep. And then also I did have LAC, ticker symbol LAC, which is Lithium Americas. I did have this on a poll last week, and these are just old drawings that I've done on it. I was just getting a lot of alerts here with it below, I imagine, 269. Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious to see if there are things suggesting that this is a bottom or if this is a breakdown. I suspect this was a dip buying opportunity. So maybe I'll do a video on that. Maybe I'll put it in a poll for the week. I'll be doing evening videos and then pre-market prep videos or streams, but pretty early in the morning. And so anyways, yeah, let's look at RGTI, which is Rigetti Computing Incorporated. And so let's just look at these levels that I have drawn up here. So what we probably want to do is this is all like thinking about levels to the upside. So that's okay. That was just a doodle that I had there. Broke out from that pretty clear. And this is an extension. Don't need that. And so yeah, okay. So we just got these 3 lines here, which correspond with kind of some consolidation below that level over here. That's around 519. And then these levels, one around 10, another around 9. And so these are not locked into place, but I will just adjust the color to suggest, what I think about them. So orange, that's kind of, like maybe it's support, but probably not. Yellow it could be support. Maybe there's something there. And green down here would be like, well, that's definitely cheap. And so we have broken below both of these levels, being caution levels, both of them, and did not get down to 519 or right around $5. But what we can do is let's say there's this, pretty big rally here. So there's a move up and a retracement, and then here, move up and retracement. So I'm going to ignore these two, and then I'll just go with the low from over here, which is 66 cents. And maybe actually, yeah, I'll just do it like this. Yeah, from that low. And wait, actually, I should make sure. Okay, so the high was 21.42. I'm just going to actually adjust this so we can see more information up there. And so the 52-week high, 21.42. And so you're going from the low 66 cents up to the high of 21.42. Maybe the 786 was tested. So let's adjust this. I'm just going to remove the 50% because I don't think that's really too useful. And then the 786. The 786, pretty crazy. How it lines up very nicely with that green line. I did not, I don't believe, I should say, because I didn't draw that green line up there here just now. But yeah, I mean, that green line is at 519. This is at 510. Did break below the 618, but another way that I could do that Fibonacci retracement is with the 65% on there, and so that would be suggesting like this golden pocket. And then, so relative to all of that, let's see, we did put in lower lows here, whereas what we can see in the RSI is higher lows. So lower lows here, higher lows here, that's bullish divergence, so that's a good look. And also up top, we've got lower highs here, also lower highs in the RSI. If we would be seeing a divergence there, so if there were either higher highs here or higher highs here, and so seeing the opposite as we do see with lower highs, then that would be some form of bullish divergence, whether it's hidden or not. I believe bullish divergence is putting in higher highs, but the RSI is lower highs. So we're not seeing either of those scenarios. So this does seem like it's, when it was at 7, like that was a potential nice dip buying opportunity. And I'm just trying to think about maybe a trend line here or something, like from this low to over here. Yeah, and that just seems kind of like I got all these levels. I'll just make this one. I'll make it yellow again, but I'll make it thick. And so that trend line, hit the low on January 13th, bounced, went up from there about, almost, over 169%. Let's have fun with it. Looks like about 170% up there, and then bounce back to retest this uptrend or begin to form this uptrend. And then just recently, it looks like I would imagine we're seeing a fake out break below. But I would look for it to hold basically above 8, ideally 850. I mean, it could come back to 8. We got the 65% retracement at 793 and the 618s at 859. So, hey, Nameless, what's up? And Intel, yeah, I'll throw Intel up here. I'll just finish up with Rigetti and BBAI. And yeah, I have a very small position in Intel, also a very small position in BBAI. And I've been green more or less with my Intel position. I've been contemplating, do I want to sell, and just because I want to consolidate my portfolio. And so that's something I need to think about. But I'm probably just going to hold the shares. I only have 3, so it's very easy. But yeah, with Rigetti, let's see. Yeah, I mean, I could see a retracement to around 8, potentially holding this uptrend, and then that'd be a real nice dip buy. And so what we do see here is, yeah, lower lows here, lower lows in the RSI there. But if we look bigger picture, lower lows here, higher lows. So this looks good, but since we have seen a bounce, I'm just basically going to apply what I did in the GameStop video yesterday. If you caught that, I'm just doing, Fibonacci retracement from this kind of short-term move. And then I'm just going to adjust that to, let's see, the 50% and the 618. And I might adjust that color to be light blue so it stands out a little bit. Maybe I'll make it thicker. Hopefully you guys can see that. But 830 would be a 50% retracement. 796 or right around $8 would be a 618 or 61.8% retracement. So I think that either of those levels, 830, 8, potentially very nice dip buying opportunities. If this does start to break lower than this, I'd look for, I wouldn't want it to be closing below like 7 approximately, or 686 here, the low from here. The low over here on March 4th was 703. So in that $7 range. So yeah, I think that this is looking pretty good. And then BBAI, this is one I got a call on it when it was, I think before it gapped down. Yeah, I think I got a call over here, and I've just held it. Doesn't expire until January. And then I have a few shares, but this is one that I kind of like to, I'm holding the call, and I feel like it's better. If one decides to go into options, I think it's good to, and also holding shares, I think it's good to sell the options before selling the shares, because it doesn't make sense to sell the shares if going long with a contract. Like the shares are less risky than the contract, so I should dump the contract first, not the shares. But yeah, with this, this has been pretty disappointing with the gap down here. That gap fill would be to the closing price on March 6th, which is at $4.20. Closed on Friday at $2.81, which is below this yellow Fibonacci retracement here, which is the 786 at $3.13.3, trading below $3 a share. And let's see. Do we have any divergence or anything in the stock price versus RSI? It does look like we do, with lower lows in the stock price and then higher lows in the RSI. So that is bullish divergence. But, this could just continue to go lower and the RSI just make higher lows. And then that would still be maintaining bullish divergence, or this could continue to go lower and then RSI drops lower. So it's not really like a clear signal until it started to break out. And so I guess what I would like to see is starting to see some closes, especially like a weekly close above $3 a share. And we could actually pull this up on, let's see, Unusual Whales, just looking at the Max Pain. I think that's what I'd like to be looking at. For BBAI, it was $3 for last Friday. We closed below it, so that's not such a great look. And then this upcoming Thursday, because Friday is Good Friday, for April 17th, Max Pain is $3.50. So I feel like it will continue to kind of be flat and or suppressed for at least this upcoming short week. But then when Max Pain starts to be into the threes, towards the end of April, beginning of May, then I think that maybe there's some potential for it to start moving higher. And we do see that a 450 Max Pain for the monthly contract in May. And then following that, May 23rd and May 30th, we have a Max Pain of 250. So if this hangs out around 3, and then, 450, maybe it gets close to 450, but still closes below it. Let's say it closes at 4. May 23rd, if Max Pain's 250, if it's still 250 then that seems like there's some nice potential for gamma squeeze, gamma ramp, something like that to happen. But as of right now, the Max Pains here kind of make me think it will continue to just kind of bore us here. And I don't think I have said this yet, but cheers to you guys. I've been trying to think of a time to take a break to do that. I was going to do it when Nameless joined, but I forgot. So I'm just going to pause this. Very awkward segue there, but whatever. Cheers to you guys. Cheers to Sunday. Cheers to the weekend and the start of a new week. Hopefully, it's a short work week for you guys. I have Good Friday off, which is nice, but I did work for 4 hours today to take advantage of double time pay. But yeah, I don't like my job, so I'm looking forward to not being at work, and not having to wake up early for work. But anyways, cheers. And regardless of your interest in GameStop, that video that I did on it, I think that super, super cool. And it makes me think that, I was looking at my all the stocks that I hold, which ones also moved up with GameStop last year on May 14th. That's when GameStop topped. Like AMC also topped then. What other stocks had massive moves on those days? So if there is a stock that you have in your portfolio that moved in sympathy with GameStop, maybe that's a cool video to check out. And maybe we'll be, I think that it just makes me think that like the algos or whatever, the hedge funds that have been shorting or whatever, they probably have to reposition their positions, which could lead to a squeeze, which we saw last year. So, and that's not just going to be limited to GameStop. That will be a number of stocks that they're kind of treating in a similar way. But yeah, with BBAI, I mean, I guess I more or less said what I think about this one. I think it's probably just going to continue to be boring for at least a month. But with this, we can look at where it was at, since I was just mentioning it, where it was at last May. So was there a spike in this one? I don't think this was one that spiked on May 14th. We could see here, May 14th, it did go up some, but it was not a sympathy play with GameStop. This is just coincidence, and it did continue up on the 15th after that. And this was also, I mean, this actually looks pretty similar to what it's, this is actually really weird. Maybe I'm just going to take a screenshot of this, and let's see. And then so we can kind of compare it with what we're looking at now. And actually, maybe I want to take a further step back. When do we break above that green line? And actually, this might be something where I could look at a fractal or whatever. I've not done that before, but maybe that would be useful. Anyway, yeah, maybe I'll try to do that. But basically what I'm thinking is there's this gap down, fades below this level. How long did it take to break back above? 242 days, it looks like. And then it had a massive move to the upside. And so doesn't that look kind of similar to this over here? A little bit. So, yeah, I'm going to try that out in TradingView and see what happens. BBAI. Okay, so how do I get fractal? That's something that I need to... Ghost feed. I'm just going to type this into Google. How do I chart fractals in TradingView? You can utilize Williams fractals indicator. Okay, so this is from TradingView. I really just want to copy the pattern. So, I'll just poke around, see if I can figure out how to do it. Let's see. Dang it. Patterns. That's not what I'm looking for. So Let's see. Cool, that's how I do it. Sweet. I need to escape that though. Okay, and so the pattern that I want is basically from here, and then where did it go up? So basically I'm just going to do it from the low here, and then do it to where it broke out and then retest it, I guess. Okay. Wait a second. This is not what I want. What the hell? Sorry about that. Anchor view up, ghost patterns. Okay, so I probably want the bar pattern. Let's see if that's it. Cool. Never done this before. So what I'm thinking is this looks similar, you know? So that's what I think BBAI could be in for. And actually maybe let's have a little bit more fun with it. Okay, so there's that, and then I'll do it from here. Okay, where am I going? I do it from, so it pulls down and up. And then back down. Okay, so I'll do it from here. And then I'll just do it all the way to the end. Okay, cool. So we've got the most amount of data there. And so I'm thinking that it looks something like this. And I mean, really the reason why I was thinking of that is because of the gap. Oops, and I don't want to adjust this too much. Okay, just don't want to screw it up. Hi there. So there's, you know, it's approximate there. And so that would be like, yeah, I mean, so this is kind of like a longer term type of thing. But I think that's pretty cool. And that would be suggesting that it could be going up as high as like $25 a share, 24. Let's see, 26, 27, let's say 25. And, you know, another way that we could kind of guess with this or get a little bit of an estimate is just doing a Fibonacci extension. So I'm just going to do it from like basically the double bottom over here up to the top here, which I'll probably have to adjust, and then kind of like the double bottom here again. So I'm just going to adjust that pivot point to the high there. And then the 100%, yeah, is up there. So not the best at using TradingView. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we'd be looking at. And so it could be getting up to around 20 to 27, let's say 20 to 27 by the start of next year. And so I would not be surprised if this came down to $2. That's or 220, let's say maybe you know, into the twos, more notably into the twos. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty cool thing there. Who knows if there's any legitimacy to it. But yeah, I just saw the thing that stood out to me was seeing this gap, but the gap that we have is timed a little bit differently. So very cool. I've never done that before, so very neat. But yeah, so with that being said, saying that, hey, the kind of like based on this fractal, this pattern, the bar pattern, I believe it would be a fractal, but maybe it's not, just the bar pattern. That's approximately at like 215. You can see the number right there. And so that would correspond with this coming down to 208. And so let's see, I have an alert there at 208. And this is one that it's like I have a pretty small position in. So it's like, well, I'll just average in. Oh, man. And if my, I'm just going to look up the contract that I'm holding. It's $10 strike. And so looking at that, when does this get up to 10? This potentially gets up to 10 in November. So what I would probably want to do with the call that I have is I'd want to wait for the stock price to get down to, I'm going to make my alert at, let's see, 222. Repeating numbers, let's have fun with it. And then once it gets down to there, then it's like, okay, well, maybe it's now time to, get some more contracts when it's down here, $10 strike. And then if it does start to move higher, hey, so maybe what I'll want to do here is put a little note for myself and to just say, look at trading view. So I'll know to do that. Just got that little, so I can see that fractal and stuff, or the bar pattern. So very cool. Excited about that. And so I've gotten both of those. So let's now look at Intel. 1970, I've got 3 shares. Wait, Nameless was asking for Intel. I've got 3 shares at 1930. I think I have a limit sell for one of them around 28, or maybe around this gap up here at 28.87. But I'm kind of, contemplating, like I only have 3 shares. It's not a big position. It's not significant. It's not make or break. Maybe I want to, at $60, that's basically another GameStop call for the one that I'm currently have a position in. Maybe I'd want to sell this to just focus more on that. It has an expiration date. And so, because I get too into, I'll look at a chart and be like, oh, that looks really good. And then I'll buy it. And then it's just, it doesn't really do much for me. So Intel, though, let's see here. Lower lows in the stock price. Also see lower lows in the RSI. Lower lows here, lower lows here as well. This was higher lows, breaking below this green line here. That's around 1986. That is the 786 that goes well back in time. I'm not going to step all the way back to that, but this is kind of like a fake out break in my view of that level. I think that Intel will probably have a lot of promise. And so, I haven't sold the remaining 3 shares that I have. I'm not looking to get into calls or anything, or to buy more shares. I could have gotten another share at like 18. I probably had an alert. Let's see, what was this alert at? It's at 1920. And the reason why I have it at 1920 is because I believe there's a level over here. I'm not sure. Sorry if I lisped a little bit there. 1920 close on this day. Yeah, the close on this day, January 14th, was 1920, and the day after, on January 15th, we hit a low of 1917. And so I'm not really sure why I was looking at 1920, just, a whole 10-cent number rounded to 10 cents. But yeah, where the stock price is currently, let's look at this. This is a bullish engulfing candle, a hammer candle here on Friday. This gap has been filled. That's at 1978. We did close just below it, so maybe that is a level of significance. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much to say about this one other than, for the very small position that I have, I feel like it's going to be worth holding those shares. Maybe I'd want to add more. I guess earnings is coming up on April 24th, which is next, not this coming week, but the week after. And so let's see. What do I want to look at? I'll just look at Max Payne here for Intel. And it was 20. We closed below it, so it's not looking too strong there. This upcoming Thursday, the Max Payne is $22.50. And so I suspect that we will still see price suppression over the course of the week. But then Max Payne gets to be 21, 21.50, 20.50. So those are above where it's currently at. Earnings expected on the 24th in the after hours, and the expected move is 12.72% either to the upside or downside, which represents a move of about $2.50. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to chill with my shares, and if it does go down $2.50, that's really just like getting back to the lows over here. That's like $2 lower, but if that rounding to 17.50 and this rounding to 20, that's about return to that level. So maybe that's one to be paying attention to. And since I have this alert here at 1920, but I'm not paying attention to it, maybe, excuse me, maybe what I want to do is just have an alert to the downside, which would correspond with that level that I just drew, that low. And so I could do it at 1767 to match that line, but you know me. I'm going to make it 1769. Oh, and yeah, that is below, so that's good. And so if price goes down to 1769, I got some cash on the side. Maybe I'd add another share or two to my position. But otherwise, I'd just be chilling. And also with earnings coming up, it could be going up or down. So tough to say there. But yeah, I'm going to have another sip of this. I've got about 25 minutes left for the ideal stream length for tonight, with me having work in the morning. And also my eyes tend to get pretty tired doing these streams. Maybe I should just wear glasses when I do them, but I also didn't sleep much last night, so I'm kind of tired. But I was just thinking maybe I'll pull up some GameStop, just follow up, see what's going on with that in the overnight trading. Can't see it on the chart, but it does look like it is up 1.5% basically, trading around 26.79. The high on Friday was 26.44. I think that this is going to be having some massive moves, but just like what I was talking about, I believe with Rigetti doing this like light blue retracement here, did the same thing with GameStop. And so the 50% is around 23.59. And then we have Roaring Kitties level at 23.41. And so I have to say, I do have a dip buy for just one share, nothing crazy, at 23.69, because you got to have fun with the numbers. And then if that goes off, I'll probably start going more heavily with calls. But more or less, just like I do plan on adding more to my call position, which I can pull it up over here. Which is this one, the $80 strike for June 20th. And, this is kind of the reason why, hey, I'd buy some more there at 69. I bought 4 of these contracts, adding to my position on Friday, just because I only had access to about $200 cash. So I bought 4 at a strike of 50 cents. And I think that this could just start really ramping up, and I'd like to get my average down. So I'll probably get another contract at open at 69, have fun with it, maybe another one at 60, and then get more aggressive at 50 cents. If that alert that I have is going off. We don't want pre-market prep. We want ticker request live. And so, yeah, that would be a pullback to around 23.59, 23.69, somewhere around there, or 23.41. But yeah, I think that we're going to see some really nice moves with GameStop, so I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah, maybe I'll just look at Lithium Americas, because especially, with like tariffs and wanting to shore up our, domestic energy security and rare earth elements, minerals, all of that. I think a company like Lithium Americas could be an intriguing one to look at. And so I'm just going to look at the profile here. I'll just read this to you guys. And so Lithium Americas Corporation is a lithium resource company. The company is focused on advancing Thacker Pass to production. So we can look up what Thacker Pass is. The company owns 100% of the Thacker Pass project, which is located in Humboldt County in northern Nevada. Not too surprising to find out that it's in Nevada. Throughout its wholly owned subsidiary. And so Lithium Nevada, which is their whole... I'm getting ahead of myself. I thought I was reading a period, but it's a comma. The company owns 100% of the Thacker Pass project, which is located in Humboldt County in northern Nevada, through its wholly owned subsidiary, Lithium Nevada Corporation. Thacker Pass is situated at the southern end of the McDermott Caldera, approximately 60 miles or 100 kilometers northwest of Winnemucca in Humboldt County, northern Nevada. Its subsidiaries include Rayo Minerals, KV Project LLC, and this number, BC Ltd. And yeah, so that's not really that interesting, what I just read. But, it's an American-based, Nevada-based lithium mining company. And I think that we do want to be putting more of an emphasis on local domestic mining and securing our energy infrastructure and renewable energy, stuff like that. And you could argue, I'm sure, that lithium energy or lithium batteries are not necessarily renewable. If we're having to do all of this mining, it's not going to be emission free if the mining machines are emitting. And then also if let's see, the mining and I don't know, mining is bad. And then if fossil fuels are used to charge the batteries, that's the other thing. So, but anyways, let's just look at this drawing that I have here. I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself. I believe I got a little bit ahead of myself. I'm just going to remove that. No, actually, I did get that measurement, and then I did this retracement. So that's actually pretty cool. So I'm just going to delete that because we don't really need it. And this does go up to that high. So 202 to 520. Let's look at that. 202 is 0.1. I gotta adjust this though. Drag it over here. So that should be 202 now. Yep. And we have clearly gone below all of those levels. So I might just make it thick. And I'm just going to reduce it to only the 786. And I will make it soothing light blue. Okay, so we pull back to that. We broke below. We've also broken below this uptrend, which I would, draw that as a thick green line. And so what we can kind of see here, I don't know how significant it is, but we do have this trend line based on these two lows, one being the low from August 5th, very important day in the market, and then the other one being September 10th, both dates in 2024. So those two pivot lows get us that trend line. And then looking over here, we can see that there was an initial close below that level, and then we got this spinning top or kind of reversal signal there. Maybe that would be a morning star pattern, and close above it. then gap up. And so that looked really good. And following that, I guess from that close, went up about 25% before it struggled to, even form a double top, lower highs here, also lower highs in the RSI, as well as the volume looked pretty small over here relative to over here. So that was showing some weakness. And then, it has come down to a lower low, but this is weak, but we do have a lower low here in the stock price there. But what do we have in the, from that day, yeah, it's a lower low. But if we look at the RSI from the day before that, it was at 29.95. What was it over here? 29.87. So they're effectively flat. So really, this is like a lower low here, level lows. So that's like weak bullish divergence. And so I view this over here just like this was kind of a fake out breakdown, but without confirmation. And so let's evaluate, did we get confirmation of this breakdown? So from that green uptrend, that's what we're looking at. We did see an initial close at that level, but not below it. Then we saw this hammer candle, suggesting maybe a bottoming signal. And that was a lower close. So what we need to see is a close lower than this low here. And so that low from April 4th was at a price of $2.43, got that mark there. And so the following day, we actually got a bullish engulfing candle, looking good, but still closed below that uptrend. And then we got a bearish engulfing candle, and we closed below that white line that I just drew. So that suggests that there is confirmation that this did break down below this level. But then following that, we got another big green candle, closed not only above that green uptrend, but also above the 786. And so that does suggest some strength, but what we did not close above was the high from over here. So that was at 275. We need to really be seeing that to suggest some strength. And so this is just, pulled back down, closed below, gone back up, closed above. And so I would say that this, as of right now, seems more likely that it's going to roll over until we see basically a close above 275. And so I have this alert over here. What I might want to do, I like the number, it's funny, I might just add one for above 275. And so if price goes above 275 and then closes above 275, that would potentially be suggesting that the bottom is in here, that this fake out breakdown that the breakdown did not follow through. It was a fake out, and then this could be going higher. And even just going up to around the highs here, that's about a 2x. So I think that's that looks pretty nice. But yeah, nobody requested that, so I hope you guys enjoyed my analysis of it though. But I do see Hydra Hustler, what's up? And I'll cheers you, and I will look at HIMS and SoFi as well. And I might try to end the stream in about 15 minutes just because I got work early, and I don't know if you can see my eyes, but I'm squinting a lot and stuff. They're tired. And I did not sleep enough last night, so I need to get some sleep so I can do pre-market prep tomorrow. Feel good about it. But yeah, so first let's look at HIMS over here. So this is actually I'm just gonna pull up when I did the limp cactus videos. That's what they were using as their advertisement. And so let's see, I'm just gonna search for HIMS. Yeah, limp cactus. What day was this? I'm actually just gonna make sure my volume's off. So when I click on this 1 month ago, what day did this come out? February 18th. And so I was basically saying, that time to short HIMS. What was the date? That was the 18th. I'm an idiot. 18th, yeah, okay. And so the 18th of February, was that right? That was February. I gotta click on this again. I just don't believe that oh my gosh. February 18th. Yeah. February 18th. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, and I remember this too. Because, I put the video out on the 18th, so that was this Monday, and then the very next day, stock price goes up 17.5%. I'm like, I'm not going to talk about that because I was clearly wrong. But was I? No, I was right. It was time to short. It would have been even a better time. Yeah, and so that's like the thing I think is interesting about shorting or going long. It's always like, oh, I was wrong because the day after it went up. But, even just from the close over here, stock price is down over 50% from when I put out that video. So that was a spot on video. Congrats if you guys shorted Hims from that video. I suspect nobody did because that video only got 29 views, which is above Ed's head. You can see it right there. I am going to take a screenshot of this. And I'm gonna cut out the exclamation point or the question mark. And I am going to post that on X. Hims is down 50% from when I released this video and only 29 people saw it. Shame. And so there's that. And then I will post a link to the video in case people want to watch it. Let's see, how do I share? Click the share button. And I'm proud of that. Mr.Soul, I wonder if you're here. If you are, welcome. Thank you for joining. But yeah, so for Hims, let's see. Where might this be finding some support? So broke below the 786. That Fibonacci retracement is kind of useless at this point. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty. Let's just go from the low over here. I'm just gonna, to be honest, I'm just gonna delete. Actually, maybe that's not useless. It's useless. But let's see, I can move this over to here. Let's see, 565. $565 to $72.98. So we got both of those levels there. We are below the 618. The 786 though is around $20. $20 a share, $7 lower than current price. And I mean, what stands out to me about this is actually not going all the way down to that 786. But if we just look over here, double top, also this top over here. So let's, how do I want to do this? Maybe just, I'm going to do it from the high from, and this actually looks really nice. The high from June 12th of last year, that was at a price of $24.35. We see all this consolidation here, lots of wicks piercing that level. One close above it, and one open above it. Seems like a pretty notable level. And then over here, we get a kiss of that level, hitting a high on July 26th of $24.24, being 11 cents lower than that level. So I think that's kind of, intriguing there. And then over here, we see, another kiss, getting close to that level. The low was 24.62, being, let's see, 28 cents. I suck at mental math. 27 cents above that. I'm not really sure. Then we did get a break of it here, close below, break of it here, open below, and then it really took off, going up from that level. 200% in the span of 40 calendar days or 26 trading days. So a very nice trade there. But now, it's sold off some. And so I think that like 24.35, I'd say I'd color that level yellow, thinking that that is probably, I don't need to make it thick, a dip buy level or potentially holding as support. And then since this retracement, we have clearly broken below the, 618. I'm just going to remove it. So we only have that 786 at 20. That would be the real dip buy level. And we can see that even, in that yellow to green range, let's see, we had a pretty good amount of consolidation between those two levels. So I feel like sub 24.35 and above $20.06, or let's say $20. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. 24.50 down to 20. I think that's going to be some good support. And we did recently test, 23.79, 23.97. I also think that's cool. Wait, 23.97. They were both 23.97. I thought one was 79. It was like, that's cool. The number switched, but no. I think that this could be breaking below. I think that maybe this bounce here, and let's actually think about this. The bounce here, as stock price moved higher, like volume here was 26.51 million, but then volume over here was 26.81 million. So a little bit higher, and it was pulling back. And then here, volume did increase more than both of those days. Closed up here, but couldn't close above the open here, couldn't close above the high here. And then here, so I feel like this is probably going to break below 24.35. And I'd say, 24.35 down to 20 is probably dip buying opportunities. But it could be like dip buying opportunities, but you have to wait like 6 months before you actually make some profits. So I wouldn't say that it's a good idea, and maybe this is a good lesson for myself. It's a good idea to not place like a limit buy order, let's say at like 24, thinking like, oh, well, if it gets into this zone, that's dip buy territory, because you kind of want to evaluate how it responds to those levels. And if it just wicks down to 24 and then bounces, then it's like, hey, that looks pretty good. It's probably going higher. But if it goes down to 24 and then closes at 23, it's probably going lower. And so better to, see what happens maybe with an alert at 24. And so maybe I'll put an alert here at 24, which I probably won't be paying attention to in all honesty. But 24 there. And then I'm just going to delete these other ones. And so we'll see if price does go below 24. And if it does, then that is a time to be like, well, do I have some cash on the side? Does this look appealing, or does it look like one I just want to keep an eye on? And so I'll go over SoFi in a second. I'm just going to have another sip of this. And I have to say, excuse covering up some of the numbers. I should have adjusted this before the stream, but I forgot to. And then with that being said, that's why I was adjusting this thing. I didn't need to. I just needed to adjust that side thing. There we go. Cool. Yeah, let's look at SoFi. And I'm starting to feel that beverage. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed it, if you guys pay attention to the thumbnails. I try to have fun with them. But this thumbnail, there's Ed as a toy. He's got a banana. He's actually got a second banana over here. He's got a crayon. And I said old-fashioned because I wanted Ed to be drinking an old-fashioned like me. But it just put a cup in the package. I'm impressed that Grok was able to figure out that it was that Ed is a chimpanzee. And, if you guys are curious, since I'm just rambling about stuff, I could show some of the other images. Oop, I want to do the images, not. So these are some other ones that I liked a lot. Let's see. This one was really good. I enjoyed, but I didn't really get like this glass, which is clearly potentially an old fashioned. So I like that. But that's above Ed, his arm. So I think it looks kind of wonky. But he's doing a little thinking thing, and it does have the same pattern as Ed is wearing right over there. So same coloring and stuff. So I think that's really nice. I think Ed looks sharp as an action figure of Ed. Oops. And just looking at, there's another one that I liked a lot, but maybe it was, I don't know. I think it was this one, but he's got like kind of dwarfy legs. Yeah. Oh, this is like a nice little banana there. But then like this glass and the crayon there kind of screw it up. Crayon out there kind of screws it up. But yeah, it's just like that's a little Ed action figure. Hello, my name is Ed. It's pretty cool. He looks a little crazy though. But yeah, I will come back to, sorry about the tangent. SoFi looks like it's up 2.24% in the overnight trading. Same with Rigetti, up over 2% in the overnight trading. Intel up about 2% in the overnight trading. HIMS up about 1% in the overnight trading, whereas GameStop is about 1.5% up. But yeah, let's see about SoFi. And so for me, this is just one where I'm going to continue to be very conservative about gaps to the downside. And so there's this one at 783. It'd be nice to see that one get filled. And then this one at 746, that to be kind of like a lure or a bait or trap, a tease. Retail to expect both of those gaps to get filled. But just like what happened down here, 603 gap was filled, but 541 was not filled. So that's kind of how I view this. And so I would wait for around 8. The low over here was 860. I think it could come down to 783, where I have that gap fill. That was based on the, let's see, closing price from over here from October 3rd. Closing price was 783. And yeah, but I mean, if I were to be wrong and that gap were to not get filled, it would need to see, let's see, this may not seem like it, but there is a gap to the upside here. Close here, top of the green candle at 1231. Oops, I did not want to do that. 1231, so believe it or not, that's a gap that needs to get filled. And so, but also it just needs to reclaim this orange uptrend, which is based on these lows the low from, I imagine, August 5th, yes, and then the low from September 10th, which is interesting because I just talked about a different stock that had the same kind of parallel line. It was not BBAI. It was not GameStop. HIMS? Nope. Intel? I don't think so. Lithium. Okay, cool. So look at that. Similarities here. Low, low. Similar. So that's interesting. And SoFi looks like in the overnight it's 2.71% up, trading around $11 a share now. But yeah, I mean, we want to see it reclaim this uptrend, which is based on, sorry, I interrupted myself, the low from August 5th and the low from September 10th. And so we did get a bounce from that approximate level, and then a kind of smaller bounce, and then a break. And then we got rejected from that level. So this makes me think it's a little more bearish. Also because, not only do we see it close below that level, we saw a gap down and close below that low. And then we saw a close lower than the low from over here. So that makes me think that this is kind of confirming the breakdown. But then we did reclaim above that level here on the 9th. We closed at a price of $11.39. But if we look over here, the high on April 3rd was $11.42. So we couldn't close above that high. And so I think that would be kind of important. So I would want to see a close above 1142. And if we don't see that, what I think is going to happen is it's going to go down to here to fill this gap, but not to fill the other gap. And then it will come back up and do something like that. Always curious to see how my doodles play out. Because, yeah, we got a gap fill there, but not at the bottom side there. So I think that this is probably going to get rejected. And to fill that gap from current price, not from if it were to go higher, but just from where it's currently at, to fill that gap, that's around a 27% move to the downside. So there could be some better discounts. But I also could be wrong. So good to consider that. And so, yeah, I have been streaming for about an hour, so I'm going to slam this and close down the stream because my eyes are tired and I'm tired. And I just want to relax a little bit before I go to bed. But, yeah, I hope all that was helpful. It was fun to kind of dive into charts without a very long list. I will throw this up here. If you have not liked it already, make sure you like the stream. Make sure you like the videos that you do find helpful. But as always, these are just my thoughts, not financial advice. And, if you do want some more of that, try to have fun over here making these videos. Make sure you subscribe. I'm sure you guys all, or I'm sure that you have all liked the video. But yeah, I'm just going to swig this while on the stream, and then I'll close it down. And actually, maybe that's a good rule. If I finish the drink, I'm not taking any more requests. I'm going to be winding this down. I saw it looks like a couple more people joined, but I'm going to be closing this down so I can wake up for pre-market prep. Got that cube there. And the cherry looks like it's stuck in some sugar at the bottom. I got the cherry. All right. So, with that being said, I'm going to do pre-market prep in the morning. I'll probably just pre-record it, but maybe I'll do it as a live stream. And I'll be recording that before I go to work, which is pretty early. And hope it's helpful. And then I'll put out a poll on X. So my handle is up there if you guys are on X or not. Whatever. I think it's a great place to exchange ideas and whatnot. This is my handle there, DGenAn, because DGenEd was taken, which kind of sucks. It'd be nice to have DGen Ed because, it doesn't matter if people call me Ed. I don't care. It's totally cool, or DGen Ed, whatever. But because I wasn't able to get the handle DGen_Ed to be same as the channel, I'd be kind of, don't want people to like follow false accounts and stuff. But anyways, yeah, this is the account. I'll put a poll up tomorrow for a video that I'll cover tomorrow evening, but I suspect I'll probably do a very short one on GameStop just to follow up on that. And let's see. Yeah, I think this is a really good video. I would encourage you guys checking it out, whether you're interested in GameStop or just looking at options data, kind of exploring some theories, which may be tinfoil hat theories around GameStop. I think it's a really cool video. It's an hour long, lots of great content in there. And I get really excited because I realize that if the options, the call buyer is Roaring Kitty, he's buying the same call that he was buying last year. So I just think that's pretty cool because it is effectively a requel in that sense. But yeah, I'm going to get closing down, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Hopefully you guys have a great week. But remember, it is a short week. Friday is Good Friday. The market is closed. But yeah, I'll